Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me, as the sound hasn't been the best on this. But I figured I just jumped out of the shower and I felt inspiration here to read the course lesson today. So I'm excited to share it because it's a goodie. And so the course lesson we'll be doing today is lesson 182. I will be still an instant and go home. The world you see to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you, as if there was a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice, nor what it is the voice reminds you of. Yet still, you feel an alien here, from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you are in exile here. Just a persistent feeling, something not more than a tiny throb, at times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. So as I pause here for a second to reflect on this first paragraph, the world you seem to live in is not home to you. So many people throw around the words that this here in form is reality, that this is our home, that this is our place of being, this is Mother Earth, we're having this human experience, all of these things. And this is merely what our mind is perceiving that we're experiencing here. It seems that we live here, right? But this is not our home. Our home is in heaven, in eternity with God. And like I've mentioned many times, heaven is the state of being that we can remember is our home and accept as our reality here in form. So that we choose our actual home in God with all of our brothers and sisters in peace, instead of thinking that this world of form is our home. And I know many, many, many people who mention that they feel this soft call, this soft whisper to love, to awaken, and that's exactly what happened to me. That I knew that my essence, my certainty, my knowing is not of this world. And this is what we're getting at here, that our knowing, our essence, our home is not of this world, right? This world is just the dream we've all chosen to dream together. And we are slowly, together, waking out of it, to remember that this world of form is not our reality. No one but knows whereof we speak. Yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak, right? So even though sometimes we share these words through A Course in Miracles, or those that come through me, the mind that is perceiving it, like the one that tries to, the mind of ego, has no idea what's going on. And even us as souls, when we first hear these words, it's like a glimmer of yes, but we don't know why, right? It's a glimmer of intrigue, but we're not really sure. Right? And so, we try and occupy ourselves in these games of suffering in this world, and these games of sadness in this world, believing that this is what we must go through, because we're having a human experience. But again, that's just a defense of the mind. And it's saying here that in defenselessness, how could we not hear and accept these words of truth as our own? Because they are. There's a part within us that knows it's true. It's just a part within us that's trying to distract us by believing that what it sees through the body's eyes is true, right? We're learning something totally new vision here. We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about an endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. He does not understand he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven. All he ever made was hell. Right? So basically it's saying here that we walk the world, trying to find the answers in this darkness. Right? This world is the darkness. This world is the hell. And we're trying to find the answers here. In all our spiritual books, in all of our readings, in all of our events, in all of our homes that we build for ourselves that appears to us to be safety and protection. We put a lock on the door. Oh, everything's safe. We keep the outside out there and we're in here. Everything's good. That we feel that this is what we need to feel safe and protected and whole and with our family and at home. But this is not our home. This is a distraction for us from accepting our real home, which is within. Just like Jesus tells us, right? First seek thy kingdom within the self. That kingdom is our home. And we are here to celebrate our homecoming together. But we must realize that no matter how many homes we try and buy here in this world, no matter how many places we try and live in this world, no matter how many different things we try and do this world to make ourselves feel better or greater or look greater or have more money or feel good in the eyes of society or everybody else, happiness will never be found there. The sense of completion, the sense of wholeness will never be found there. Nothing can be found there. Yeah, the house looks good to the eyes of what? Your friends, your family, the neighbors who can say, oh, it looks so good, and so that you can feel better about yourself. That's not living. That's partaking in the dream. It doesn't mean that if we need shelter, it won't be there, because it will be. But it's seen through different eyes and trusting that our Father, our God, who is in our heart, which is where we are at home together, will provide exactly what I need at the perfect time for me. Just like any loving father would. But no, we think you have to do it on our own. But that's okay, we're learning. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again. The childhood of your body and its place of shelter are a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. It's a dream in the mind, it's gone, it's not here. Yet there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he is alien here. This childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. And it's not the forever that people say, till death do you part, I'll love you forever and always. Like, the limited one that, will probably fall apart like 20 years later because it's for the wrong reasons, right? This is a forever and eternity, which is where our wholeness and completion comes from. So that no longer are we looking for that wholeness and completion in a person or in a house or in a job, but we find that wholeness and that completion in our heart where it belongs, where God is, where we are, right? So it's the flip. It's what is important to me, right? This childhood is eternal with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. It is this child in you your Father knows as his own son. It is this child who knows his Father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly, his voice cries unto you to let him rest a while. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. Now, this is the call that I answered back in 2009. The call to something greater than myself. The call to something that felt like home and felt like surety and peace that I was so seeking in those moments of suffering. I answered that call. And from answering that call, I knew that my way in keeping it and accepting it and understanding it for myself would be to turn inward. This child of love that is within us is who we are. This child of love within us is asking us to turn inwards and be silent, to have a few moments of respite, to connect with the stillness, which is our home in God. And in this stillness is where we can rest a while, in the silence and the peace of what we are and what God is, so we can let all veils of uncertainty and pain lift from our eyes and minds through the willingness of bringing all that we no longer want to truth, and letting truth come to us to remind us of what is real. This child of love is in us, and it's calling us to this. It did to me, and it's doing to all of us. This child needs your protection. He is far from home. He is so little that he seems so easily shut out. His tiny voice so readily obscured. His calls for help almost unheard amid the granting sounds and harsh and rasping noises of the world. Yet does he know that in you still abides his sure protection? You will fail him not. He will go home, and you along with him. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. So let's pause for 1 second here. This child of God is within you, and it needs you to remember that he is there. And he will scream out to you and call to you in whispers of love and peace. But because we're so easily conditioned to listen to the distraction of mind and the distraction of the world and what we need to do and what we have to do and what we must do and what we seek to find, we miss it. We don't hear it. The only thing we must do is listen to the silence, listen to the stillness, listen for this voice for love, this child of God to speak to us. Because this child of God is us. It is what we are. And the moment that we turn within and listen in the stillness to accept this, we both are free. Because that is what we are. We are one with it. Right? And then so we are allowing ourselves here to remember that this child is our defenselessness. Anytime we feel this thought to attack or to condemn or to judge, we can remember this child within us instead and come to that moment of respite and peace and be like, all is okay. I'm not here to defend what I know is not real. I'm here to be defenseless so I can learn what is not real and what is real. He cannot fail because God cannot fail. And this child of God is a child of God, and it is what we are, and it is in us now. The only reason that we came to this world is because this child trusted us. This child knows that we cannot fail. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you. For he would bring you back with him, that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong and where he lives an outcast in a world of alien thoughts. His patience has no limits. He will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you, calling you to let him go in peace, along with you to where he is at home, and you with him. So no matter what, this voice is going to call you home, whether you hear it or not, whether you listen or not, whether you accept it or not. It will continue to call you home. so that when you come back, you're no longer affected by the alien thoughts of this world, because you see the alien thoughts of this world for what it is, but now you have the new thoughts of God within you that you've accepted, that you can now shine throughout this world, and that is bringing heaven to this earth through us. So listen to the call. Answer it. We are. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then will you hear his voice. So poignantly, he calls to you that you will not resist him longer. In that instant, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. This isn't just words. This is an experience to be had. The moment we stop believing in these loud thoughts of the restless mind that are all untrue, all of them, the moment we stop listening to that, but our willingness carries us to listen to the stillness within, is when we accept that stillness as our reality, and we become one with the home eternity, which is where we always reside. Realizing that we could never not be one with it, but we've just remembered it and accepted it at this time. So we can rest in that place of stillness and peace always. So that just because we're here in human form doesn't mean we have to experience the fears and the sufferings and the annoyances and the frustrations of what comes along with the restless mind here in form. We are surrendering the restless mind so we cannot experience that again. And we don't. But most people here in this world believe that this world is their home, and because they're here in a body, that this is what reality is. We've chosen this for ourselves. Mother Earth is alive. Well, yes, but only because of what we are, and what we are is whole and perfect and complete. And our power and our strength and our conviction and our surety and our purpose is found in silence. And we can accept it for ourselves in wholeness and not experience the other side that we've imagined, this darkened side, this suffering side. That does not exist to a child of God. It only exists when you believe that you're something that you're not. So this voice for love, this child of love, is calling you. Listen. So rest with this child of love frequently today. For he was willing to become a little child, that you might learn of him how strong is he who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds the might of heaven in his hand, and calls them friend, and gives his strength to them, that they may see he would be friend to them. He asks, but they protect him, for his home is far away, and he will not return to it alone. Christ is reborn as but a little child, each time a wanderer would leave his home. For he must learn that what he would protect is but this child who comes defenseless and who is protected by defenselessness. Go home with him for time to time today. You're as much alien here as he is, right? But Christ is alien here to this world. This world is not his home. But we've chosen to show up here so we can remind those who are lost in the darkness that this is not your home. That your home and Christ and perfect happiness is found within you. But we first must cultivate it and remember it and find it within ourselves so we can share it. Take time today to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy without existence. The enemy does not exist except for in your mind, believing that it is there. Christ will show you otherwise. Lay them down. Lay down the defenses. Become defenselessness. Become defenseless. Christ has called you friend and brother. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to you to ask your help in letting him go home, completed and completely. He has come as does a little child who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he asks unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more. You have not lost your innocence. It is for this you yearn. This is your heart's desire. This is the voice you hear, and this the call which cannot be denied. The Holy Child remains with you. His home is yours. Today, he gives you his defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made. And now the way is open, and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still a moment, and go home with him, and be at peace a while. How beautiful is that, to know our home is inward. And this child of love is what we are, and it's calling us home. And all we need is remember that Christ is our brother and our friend. And he's saying, remember me, we can go home together. And as we choose to leave this world and everything we think we made behind, is when we can go inward into the silence, completely wholly empty-handed unto our God, and ask for this remembrance. And in doing so, we reside in that place of peace, eternally, like we're meant to. And then others can join us in this peace together. So all of us can wake up and truly go home to where we belong. So let's do this together, everybody. And to leave you with the last, our thought of the day, I will be still an instant and go home. I love you all. I trust you all. Have a great day.